This is Milwaukee's best NBA podcast. What's going on, everybody? This is the playoff edition of Milwaukee's Best NBA Podcast. It's Friday, April 12th. I'm Aaron Freese. This is Tyler Tea Time English.
Yo.
So the regular season's finally done, man. It's finally over. Playoffs are here.
It was a long season.
Yeah.
Should have been over probably about 15 games ago, but
yeah,
it's cool.
So, where do you want to start? You want to start with the West or the East? We're just gonna run it. We're gonna run it down right away. You want to do?
Let's start with the West. We can start with the West.
I agree. Because once I get to the Bucks, we'll just talk for like 20 minutes about that.
Oh boy.
All right, 1-8 Clippers, Warriors. I think that one's done in 4.
Yeah. The Clippers, they played amazing this year. I mean, honestly, I don't even think they should have been an 8th seed. They probably could have made it to 7th or 6th, but you know how tough the West is. But yeah, I mean, Clippers had a great year, even though even when they traded Tobias, they still went on a good streak.
Doc Rivers is he your third coach of the year or second? He's my second. I got him ahead of Mike Malone.
He'd be my third.
Third?
Yeah, I'm not even third, man. I'd give it to.
Look who he's had though.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's very true. In the back of my mind, I got Brad Stevens always in the run-in, and you can't sleep on Popovich either. He's what year coaching is this for him? 30th or something?
Yeah, Pop will be top 5.
Yeah,
I just
easily.
think Doc Rivers has 2 rookies in his starting lineup, which is why they aren't going to beat the Warriors. But they weren't.
No. They'd be lucky to win a game. But,
maybe if they win a game,
it'll be a good fight, until the fourth quarter, 8 minutes left, and then that's when Kevin Durant and Steph gonna start coming down drilling those threes, and they're not gonna be able to keep up scoring.
All the top seeded teams I think there's one upset that's not really an upset because everyone's kind of predicting it. We'll get to it in a bit, but it's OKC Portland. Yeah, I think everyone's got OKC there.
No,
they swept Portland. I've got
$40 in bets.
You put money on Portland?
No, I put money on OKC.
Okay.
Everybody else is betting on Portland.
No,
I don't know why. I mean, I know why. Portland's a good team. They're actually a very good team.
But I think if
they play good defense,
if you put money on them against OKC, you're drunk.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Paul George just had too good of a season, and then Russell Westbrook started off slow. I don't know if you would call triple-double starting off slow. But for Russell Westbrook's standard, he started off slow this season, and then after All-Star break, he kicked it into gear, and they look great.
See, if everyone is freaking out about the Thunder because they finished the season like 7-14 or something like that, and going into the playoffs, that's usually really bad. You want to be hot going into the playoffs.
Yeah, very true.
And Paul George had that shoulder injury, but I think just based on how the season series went, they swept Portland. No Nurkic, which is like what they don't.
You know what? I forgot no Nurkic. He's a big factor too, because other than that, who do they have?
They don't have anyone that can stop Steven Adams.
Myers Leonard.
Yeah, Myers Leonard.
That's about it. I mean, he's solid, but
he's good. But he's
those two put together. That's a good Adams stopper. But now they got Adams and Grant just gonna be doing their own thing.
And it's Cantor, and he can't play.
That's right.
He can't play defense.
He got traded. That's completely. Or no, he didn't get traded. He got released.
It was a contract buyout by I think it was he still on the he wasn't still on the Knicks, was he? Yeah. Still on the Knicks. He got a contract bought out. I mean, it's a good late season pickup.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was a great pickup for them, and that was before Nurkic even got injured.
Here's another maybe. I have this series going to 7, but Denver's still pulling away. Denver Spurs or Nuggets Spurs.
That's gonna be very close. Again, you got Popovich, and how much
Nuggets
playoff
team,
experience he has. And then you got LaMarcus Aldridge and DeRozan. They've been playing solid.
I think LA is gonna torch the Nuggets. I think LaMarcus Aldridge. He's gonna have one of his 50-point games because Jokic is okay.
When's the last
on
time
defense.
he did that? It's been a while since.
I mean, it was against. He did that back in January. Was his big 56-point game.
That might have been his only one since he's been on the Spurs.
Oh yeah,
though.
LaMarcus Aldridge isn't a guy that you expect to go off every night.
He used to. He used to on Portland. Are you kidding me?
Sure, but
he put up 40s easily.
Not today.
That's just because of the style of basketball that the Spurs play. He's capable of it for sure.
But my point is, I think he matches up pretty well against Jokic. Like offense, defense, not LA on offense.
I don't know. That's a tough one, man. The Joker is he's a problem.
He's a great player.
He's gonna get the rebounds. He's gonna pass. He's gonna pass more than he tries to shoot. So I don't know. You're right. That'll be a good matchup, but I don't know. I think Joker still pulls that matchup out. And then who do they have to hold DeMar though? Will Barton?
Yeah, Denver's not really. They have a bunch of really good guys, but they're not like a super deep experienced team, and that's the big down. That's the big rap against them.
Yeah, that's very true.
The knock against them.
Yeah, they got a bunch of, but the young guys are good though, and that's what's gotten them this far. I mean, Murray and Harris.
Right. Jamal Murray's so inconsistent. Who would you pick in the series? I'd say Nuggets in 7. I think that series is gonna go to 7 because
Nuggets got home court advantage, man. But
both, you're right, but
it's so hard to.
They're like polar, or they're both so polarizing between their statistics between home and the road. San Antonio is terrible on the road.
Yeah.
They got one of the best NBA home records. Same with I think Denver. If it's not Milwaukee, they're the best NBA home record. I think it's 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, traveling back and forth to Denver is going to be a problem for San Antonio.
You think so? They're pretty close. I mean,
well, no, it's just it's the elevation.
Really?
Everybody hates playing in Denver. You never heard of that?
In baseball, I have.
No, everything. Nobody likes going to Denver.
I guess. Sure.
Allen Iverson he left Denver because he didn't want to. He said it in an interview or like a post game conference or something. He didn't want to play there.
That's really funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
How about Houston slipping to the 4th seed? They had the 2nd seed in line, in sight towards the second last game of the season. Then they lose to OKC on that crazy Paul George buzzer beater.
It's kind of around the time when Capella came back. Maybe it's just a problem of them trying to work everybody back into the offense, or just because it's later in the season. I mean, how long was Capella out? He was out at least 2 months, right?
Yeah, he was kind of in and out. He was out. I think he got injured twice. But the Rockets slipped down to 4, and they have to deal with a kind of a Utah team with a chip on their shoulder. Mm-hmm. They're going to be a tough out. I think that series goes to 7 too. That's going to be a tough series.
I mean, he showed us last year that he could show up in the playoffs.
Exactly, and he's only in his 2nd year.
Exactly.
Do you remember the beginning of the season when I picked the Jazz? I think 2nd or 3rd in the conference. That might have been bad, but you were so down on the Jazz. They started off 21-21.
No, I remember.
Since that point, they've had the NBA's best record at 29-11, or no, 2nd best record behind the Rockets.
Yeah, I mean they played. They're
well
a
second half team, man. They did the exact same thing last year. They started 17-29, and they finished with 50 wins again. This is back-to-back years of 50 wins. They've got a sneaky, really deep team, sort of. They got good role players off the bench. They got Kyle Korver and Jay Crowder and
Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert.
Yep. Think he'll get it over Giannis?
Yeah.
I think Giannis came into Defensive Player of the Year conversation too late.
Yeah, exactly. He's been doing that all season.
But if you think about it, he's like chased down blocks. He gets steals.
Yeah, no, for sure.
He's completely he didn't shut down Embiid because he still got a triple double that game, but he blocked Embiid 4 times that one game.
That's true. Like you said, it's just it's more of a he didn't do it until the second half. Well, I mean he did it, but not as prominent as Rudy.
Yeah, we'll see.
Even with Rookie of the Year, Trae Young is making a push. Like he really wants Rookie of the Year, but I don't think he'll get it just because Doncic has just been doing that all season.
Trae Young had such a terrible start to his season.
Yeah, he did.
Too.
It was a little shaky.
Everyone was freaking out in summer league when he started, shooting like 20%, and I think Doncic has got it sealed up. Back to we'll see if voters for all the awards fall victim to recency bias, because I know that Paul George was in it for a while. If you take away the last month of the season. Yeah. Paul George is a very strong case for MVP.
He would have probably been number 3, honestly.
Yeah. Let's do MVP real quick. Giannis or Harden? Make your case.
Man, I've been back and forth all season, honestly. But just for the sake of where the Bucks are at, as a team and where they were before, you almost got to give it to Giannis. I mean. Not that James Harden doesn't have a case. I mean, what is he averaging? 36?
Yeah, he finished with 36.
And 7 assists?
Something like that.
Yeah, that's the first time that's ever been done. And
then averaging 36 by itself, I think.
Well, yeah, exactly. And he put up, almost 3,000 points.
Yeah, it was 2,800, I think.
Unbelievable.
That's insane.
That's crazy. So, I mean, you can make your case for both, but as far as team-wise, and especially, like you said, the Rockets started to slip at the end of the season. So, but I don't know. They gave it to Russell Westbrook, and they were in the 7th, 8th seed.
Right.
So, and I had, a couple of debates with people on Facebook about that. I said this race is still very close, and then, obviously it's Bucks fans, so they're like, no, this is clear as day, and I'm like, no, man, I've seen way worse situations of people getting robbed out of MVPs. It happens all the time.
I think these are 2 of the best MVP cases we've seen in 10 years. It's Harden would win it any other year if Giannis.
The last couple years. I mean, who was it between last year? Russ and LeBron.
Russ, Harden, and LeBron.
Yeah, and the year before it was Russ and LeBron.
I think Harden. See, Harden's finished in the top 5 voting, or top 2, I think, for the last 5 years. So Harden's been right there, and he's only won it once. But I think that's just people don't like voting the same player back-to-back years. And if Giannis wins it next or this year, we'll see if he's even he'll be top 5 for probably the next 10 years. But if you try to talk MVP with Bucks fans, there's no reasonable conversation.
Yeah.
But the point I want to make for why maybe Harden does not get it is because when the Rockets started, 8-14, he was still part of that team. He wasn't hurt. He was still back. So he only played that. It's not like he's been doing this the entire year. A quarter of the year, he was. They had Melo at the time, but I don't really think it had that much to do with it. So I think if you need to look at the entire season, and Giannis has done it front to back, and I think that's the case for it. But it's it's 51%, 49%.
Yeah, it's very close.
It's very close.
I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't. My predictions is Giannis, and I would give it to Giannis, but we'll see.
Coach of the year, probably Budenholzer, right? I think we already.
Oh yeah, he's got that in the bag.
Rookie of the year, Doncic.
I don't. That's going to be an interesting one too. I think they're going to give it to Doncic, but don't be surprised if Trae Young somehow sneaks it out. I mean, they finished off the season good. Neither one of the teams made the playoffs, right?
I think they'll toss it up. Yeah, and neither of them did. Both very not good teams. I think if it's like it comes down where people are actually like doing a coin flip, I think they'll just go to the defensive side of the ball and they'll look at Doncic. Like you give Doncic the edge because Trey Young put up like one of the worst defensive seasons like in terms of like defensive metrics. It was like him. A lot of other rookies like Colin Sexton and Kevin Knox just terrible on defense. Mm-hmm. So I think you give it to Doncic still, and plus he's just the things he does on offense, like for a player coming out of the Euro League who's over 19, who's only 19, it's crazy.
He looks like he's been in the NBA for like 5 years.
Except he doesn't because
That's how he plays.
Has like a dad bod, man.
No, I'm just talking about his skill set, man. It's ridiculous. And how comfortable he is on the floor.
I went to like literally like
he's out there laughing and joking around with these guys like he's been playing with them for, 4 or 5 years, but still at the same time dropping 27 and 4,
And
like
talk as much shit on the Euro League as you want. Like good players come out of there. It's not like it's it's definitely a step above the G League in my opinion. I think they're kind of almost neck and neck, but you give Euro League the edge. Because they're like actual like paid professionals.
Right.
There's still good players in Europe. I think a lot of players go over there if they don't get drafted, or they go to China. Let's continue with the playoffs though. I got kind of sidetracked there, but we got the awards out of the way.
Are we missing? We're missing six man.
Lou Williams.
Yeah.
I think that's easy.
Who's somebody else was the runner up though? It was a good runner up. I can't think of it, but yeah, Lou Will. I think he's got that wrapped up.
That's the first name that comes. Like, it's funny because the Clippers
used to be Jamal Crawford every single year.
The Clippers have 2 starters that come off their bench, Harrell and
yeah, very true. Or could be starters.
Yeah, I think Lou Williams is a starter on most teams.
Yeah, easily.
What matchup are we missing from? I think we went over Utah and Houston, OKC. I think we got them all. Just 4, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go over let's say so we're agreeing on Denver wins the San Antonio series?
I can't agree with that. I don't
coin flip?
I think it's a coin flip.
Okay.
That's gonna be a closer series than what most people think.
Yeah, I think I got a quarter right here. We'll decide it now. Heads.
You know what? I might have to roll with the Spurs, man.
You're gonna go Spurs.
I think playoff experience and just basketball experience in general is gonna come into play. Because who's the veterans for the Nuggets?
Nobody Millsap.
Paul Millsap.
Millsap has the only big playoff experience.
And
all right, let's
that was
flip a
only
coin.
1 year.
All right.
I'm going with the Spurs.
It was like a year or two the Hawks were good. Especially that 1 year they won 60. They only made it to the second round.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's flip a coin for the sake of talking about the Eastern or the Western semis. Heads Nuggets, tails Denver. Or
who are you rolling with on that series?
I would say Denver in 7. I'm saying Denver in 7 because this is not a good Spurs team. They don't have good guards at all. Derek White's all right, but
we don't need the coin flip then.
I
got the Spurs.
I'm just saying for
Nuggets.
the first, if we're talking about the Western Conference semifinals, heads Nuggets, tails Spurs. Want to do that? It's heads. We'll go Nuggets.
Okay.
So we can do both, but in round 2, we're assuming.
It would be OKC.
OKC Spurs. I think OKC wins.
Yeah.
OKC Denver. I think OKC wins either way.
That's gonna be Denver. Denver. You can't sleep on Denver like that, man.
Playoff experience is super relevant, man.
It's
super relevant.
It's very true, but
it's because it's totally different than the regular season.
It'll be like 6 games, though. I think it'll go 6 games.
Oh yeah, it'll still be a good series because Denver's a really good team, but
yeah, I got OKC going past them. I got OKC.
That's crazy because OKC has a crazy easy path to the conference finals.
Yeah, against
they really
Warriors.
lucked out by just beating Houston and Milwaukee those back-to-back nights or whatever it was. to get them into the 6th seed versus being possibly an 8th seed.
Right.
Because the second last day of the season, Utah had the 5th locked up, so they could be anywhere from 6 to 8. But I think the Clippers lost and the Spurs probably lost too, because they finished a game ahead of them. So then that leaves the other side of that bracket, which is, I think we're saying
Warriors.
Houston and Warriors.
Yeah.
See, that's why Houston falling to the 4th seed is such a big deal, because they have to face the Warriors round 2.
Yeah, that's a problem.
But I think that works out in their favor more, because last year Houston didn't see Golden State until the conference finals, when CP already had 2 rounds under him.
True.
2 rounds behind him. I think the CP hamstring injury is inevitable, so maybe you get... Do you think that Houston can beat Golden State? Golden State does not have a bench, keep in mind. This is like the worst bench that Golden State has had since their 5 consecutive finals.
Can beat them, but that ain't happening.
Well, they would have last year if they hadn't shot like 0 for 27 in that stretch or whatever it was. That would have been Houston's series.
That ain't happening this year, bro. I'm telling you, no.
0 for 27?
What's going to happen this season, this playoffs, is Kevin Durant's. This is Kevin Durant's time to shine. He's going to ready to average 32 throughout the whole playoffs. I predict that. So, and nobody's going to be able to stop him
before you continue,
the Rockets.
Do you think that Kevin Durant comes back?
No. So, I don't think the chemistry's right over there anymore, and I don't think...
Do you think if they win the finals he comes back? Does he feel compelled to come back because he won the finals?
No, I'm predicting if the Warriors, win the final. No, he wouldn't be back.
I've heard some people make that argument, like why the Warriors won't win. It's because Kevin Durant won't give it 100% just to go to... But that's a stupid argument to me, because like if you have an opportunity... You have the best opportunity out of any team to win the finals. Like you have a lineup of like 4.5 All-Stars, right? You're not gonna mail in the chance to get a ring.
That's 5 All-Stars for sure.
Well, Draymond's not really an All-Star anymore, but
I mean
he was.
Sleep on Draymond. Sleep on Draymond if you want. No. I want everybody to hear this. Sleep on Draymond Green if you want to, but I guarantee you he shows up playoffs. You know how everybody is on his ass for just playing average or sitting out games and stuff like that throughout the season. They know the Warriors been doing this for what, 4 years.
There's a visible difference if you watch the 2014-15 finals Draymond versus last year's finals Draymond. He's like almost a completely different player. He's more athletic. 5 years ago, he's older now, man.
His game is definitely declined. His style of play is key for their team.
He's got the mental aspect that you need.
He can easily get a triple-double any night.
Sure.
And he doesn't. The Warriors. It's only a couple people that play hard every single night. That team don't play hard.
I'm just saying
man.
he's not an all-star. I mean, obviously he wasn't this year because the Western Conference is stacked. But
yeah,
I don't think even if it's balanced, I don't think he's an all-star. So I mean, he was for sure, but now Boogie's not an all-star form yet. He'll get there.
Boogie an all-star.
But yeah, he is in normal years. He's coming back
even
from
this year. I'll give him this half a season there, or
Yeah, he's done well.
Give him an all-star.
I think if he had his own team, definitely we'd see all-star Boogie. But
he's doing it now. They don't.
But that's the thing.
They don't need it from all of their players.
My point is, KD will not mail in the playoffs with 4 all-stars around him. You know what I mean? He's on a 5 all-star. We'll just say, for the sake of simplicity, that he's got a 5 all-star starting lineup. And so I don't think he would just lose so he has an excuse to switch teams. It's a crazy argument to make. So
that's not how things work.
Right.
A lot of people these conspiracies about basketball.
Yeah, people love to think up these, these cute little scenarios, and I think it's pretty far fetched. All right, let's go to the Eastern Conference. So are we still picking the Warriors to come out of the West first of all before we switch? I don't think we ever.
I don't know.
Houston can do it, man.
It's gonna be no.
Wait.
I'm not talking about Houston. I'm talking about OKC.
Right? Yeah, because we said OKC is in the West. I think OKC can do it.
They can. I mean, it'll be a 6-7 game series, but that will require Paul George to be as hot as he's been all season.
The West is such.
They got a chance. I like their team. I like their lineup. The bench is going to be the problem, but like you said, the Warriors don't even have that strong of a bench this year.
You know what I'm scared of for OKC though is what Russ has done in every single playoffs since the 2015 year when he was in the final, or he's in the Western Conference Finals against the Warriors, up 3-1 with KD. That was KD's last year in a Thunder uniform, and Russ just kind of shot them out of the series.
Yeah, but
he's done that the last 2 years.
He knows this year he's not the primary scorer, and that's
and you can see it in his numbers.
Yeah,
you can see it in his numbers.
He doesn't even take that many shots anymore. When KD and Russell Westbrook played together, I could not stand Russell Westbrook just because of the amount of shots that he took, and I'm like, man, he needs to. He said, it was a young-minded, thing. He just needs to calm down and ground himself and become a facilitator, and use his skills for facilitating. And that's what he's doing now, and I don't know. A lot of people hate on Russell Westbrook just because of some of the things that he does or things that he says. But
I mean, yeah, he's kind of a dick.
So his basketball skills are amazing. Kobe was a fucking dick. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, Kobe was a dick too.
And everybody appreciates him now, but how many people couldn't stand Kobe? But he's that good of a basketball player. You gotta give him respect. I mean, I made the argument. Oh, we haven't even talked since this 2020 and 20 game. Are you kidding me? The only other person to do it is Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah,
I mean, you're in a category with Wilt Chamberlain and nobody else is in it.
It was incredible, and I'm such me. I'm not a fan of Russ whatsoever. I mean, I will respect that he does some crazy things.
Amazing.
He's like no other. He's like no other player in the league. His motor is incredible.
He's like no other point guard in history. How about that? He's like no other point guard in history, man.
Yeah, I mean,
think about before he got his ACL injury. What was that? 4 or 5 years into the league.
Yeah,
he didn't miss a single game. Even in high school or college, he didn't miss a single game, and he's playing at that level all the way up until that injury.
I think it's pretty crazy when you think about most people forgot that he had that injury.
Yeah.
And he hijacked.
Yeah, and that's another reason of why his game has calmed down too. He can't play. I mean, he plays explosive still. He's just an explosive player, but he can't play as explosive as he was after an ACL injury.
I'm just really bad at putting my personal dislike for somebody aside.
And
I just do not.
A lot of people do that, like I said. I made bets with people on Facebook, some of my friends, just because, I said that Russell Westbrook is going to make it. I said they're going to make it to the conference finals. And they bet that, the Blazers would take him out in the first round. I'm like, okay, whatever. I mean, we've witnessed this, man. He's an animal. I mean, he put up 50 points in the finals. He has a chance to go off whenever he wants to. If Paul George isn't able to show up, or even when Paul George is showing up. I've seen them both drop 40 points in the night,
Yeah, and OKC is definitely a threat. I gotta reel you back in. We can definitely talk Russ later on in the playoffs, but we need to get to the Eastern Conference because we don't have a lot of time left. The East, I think, is pretty. I think you go chalk on the first round matchups. You pick all of. I mean, I'm really not worried about Boston dropping a series to the Pacers.
I don't think so either.
Who's gonna light it up for the Pacers? Bojan Bogdanovic. Is he gonna carry them past 7 games against Kyrie Irving? I don't think that's gonna happen. Playoff Kyrie is a pretty pivotal part as to why LeBron was able to win a ring in Cleveland. Say what you will. Like, LeBron was insane, obviously. And I don't want to get you on that tangent either. But Kyrie is just an incredible player in the playoffs. And say all what you want about how turbulent Boston's regular season has been, how they've had chemistry issues. But they have a very deep team, and Gordon Hayward is playing his best basketball of the season, like right now. He's been pretty good the last 2 weeks. You're starting to see flashes of old Gordon, pre-ankle Gordon, and I think that team's going to be a tough out in the playoffs. I'm really nervous as a Bucks fan because assuming the Bucks, sweep Detroit or whatever we're going to say, Boston's going to be a tough 7-game series.
Now, you remember what I said. And,
I said that. I echoed that.
No, yeah. And this was probably about what? This was in probably January or so that I said that Boston. It was probably before then. I can't remember now.
It was a little after. I remember having a discussion about this.
Yeah, we had a discussion about it. But Boston is. I think they're gonna win the East. I just, I think the first series is going to be interesting. It's going to be tough, a little tough for them because, the style of play of the Pacers. And, that's going to be a close series, but I think Boston will get it done in either 5 or 6. All the games will be close, though.
Which fan base do you think a second-round exit for these top 4 teams will be most devastating for?
The fan base?
Yeah, personally, just the way I know the Milwaukee fan base.
Okay,
I think.
So what's the teams?
Milwaukee, Toronto, Philly, and Boston.
I think the most heartbreaking would be Milwaukee, and I'm just saying that just because of this season. Everybody's been, we're the number 1 team,
we're going to the finals.
Yeah, all the fans been screaming that we're the number 1 team since we were the number 1 team, and that was back in what?
It was November, since exactly. Pretty much the whole damn season.
So, it'll be most devastating for us as
It'll
Bucks
be
fans.
hard to swallow. Here's the thing. See, the only thing that will completely just shut me down and make me crawl under a rock for a couple days is if the Bucks lose in the first round. That's an absolute given. A first round exit is absolutely unacceptable at this stage of the game. You're not playing against a Pistons team who has LeBron on it. You're playing against Blake Griffin on one knee. So I think anything less than a 4-1 is unacceptable. But if they lose to Boston in 7, I'm not going to, it's not going to be the end of the world.
Here's my case for Boston. They have that playoff experience. They've been doing it. I mean, this has been the same team for what? Almost, 2-3 years now.
Yeah. They've got a solid core.
And they haven't switched anything, switched
They've
anything
been to
around.
This is the second straight year they're in the conference finals.
Exactly. And they got one of the best coaches in the NBA. I give him top 3 coach in the league.
Yeah, I think
if not number 1, I think he's still the best coach in the league, no matter the record of Budenholzer's team. Obviously Budenholzer is the best coach this season, but I think I would still rather have Brad Stevens than I would if I was setting up a team. I would pick Brad Stevens as a coach before I would pick Budenholzer.
I don't even know who I'd pick. It's just I'd have to see what Budenholzer. I have to see if the Bucks go to the finals, then I would pick Budenholzer maybe.
Right.
But it's you have Giannis, who's the best team or the best player in the league this year, and that's tough.
But yeah, I mean, the team is just experienced, and then you got a Kyrie Irving who's won a championship already.
Brad Stevens also, people are kind of shitting on him this year because of what happened in Boston with the whole chemistry. That's tough, man. If you have players who just don't go together, which namely,
you know how many egos that is to control. That's a lot of That's a lot of superstar, mentality around that team.
And no matter how good you are at X's and O's, that's too tough. I mean, I think the Bucks got extremely lucky with how well put together they are in terms of chemistry. I think the Bucks have that going for them, but let's just jump over to the other side of the bracket real quick. We have likely will be Philly and Toronto. I think Philly matches.
Wait, that's not the first round, though.
No, that's second round. That's
so
assuming. And Philly has Brooklyn. Now, here's the thing.
Yeah, that's an interesting series.
And Embiid is not healthy right now.
Yeah.
He may miss the first few games of this series due to that knee injury.
I don't think Brooklyn pulls it off just because they don't, again, like you said, playoff experience is huge. But
I think the Philly fans will kind of show out in the Barclays Center.
And Russell, he's on his way to being a star player, but
he's not there yet.
You can make a case for him this season. He has played as star level.
He's an all-star, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he basically put his team in the playoffs. Like, I mean, who would have thought the Nets would have been in the playoffs? That was all him.
Karis LeVert towards the end helped him kind of make that push again.
And they got a good solid, young core, but again, they're all
Russell
young,
was the straw that stirred that drink.
Exactly. And Russell he still shows signs of inconsistency. And that can be a problem when your star player can't get going in the playoffs. So, game 1 and game 2. Yeah, if he can't get going, it's hard for the rest of the team to rally behind that. That's just what it is. So
he's prone to some cold shooting. Philly.
But Philly should have that one in the bag. I mean, JJ Redick.
I see it going to 6.
No. I
think so. I see it going to 6 just because of the whole Embiid injury thing. I think Boston can steal a game
even
without
Embiid. I think they're still solid enough to get over it. I think they can beat them at 5.
Okay, yeah.
Brooklyn will steal a game at home.
Yeah, they'll get game 3.
Yeah, I don't see them winning many games, but the matchups is nice. I just I don't know. I can't pick the Nets.
Yeah.
So then you got
Toronto, Orlando's kind of a lock for me. I think that's a 5-game series as well. Everyone wants to point to the season series being 2-2, but those 2 Magic wins were without Kawhi, and so I don't really see Orlando taking that past 5 games.
Don't sleep on Orlando, man.
I am, though, because they don't really have, they don't have anyone outside of, like, Vucevic, who's really I mean, they still got Fournier. They got Terrence Ross. They got Terrence Ross and Aaron Gordon, but it's those guys aren't all-stars.
Right.
And you're going up against, like, probably the deepest team in the league in Toronto. They have Kawhi's going to be ready to go. He's going to, they rested him all this time for this. Like, this is where it's his time to shine. If Kyle Lowry, shits the bed again, that's one thing, because playoff Kyle Lowry has been, like, pretty bad.
Yeah, so, I mean, Toronto's the clear pick there for sure, but I'd say that series will probably go, I wouldn't be surprised if it went, 4-2, but it'll more likely be 4-1 too. So that'll be a 4-1 series as well, and Philly-Toronto. I got Toronto.
I do too, man. I don't think Philly matches up very well against Toronto. JJ Redick, he can't play he can't defend anybody in 2 minutes. He almost can't be on the floor. He's a negative on defense. He'll get you offense, but he'll give that right back up from 3 on defense or whatever. So I think Toronto wins that one in 6.
Like you said, they're pretty deep, man. And so let's say the Bucks do make it past the Celtics. They got to go up against Toronto, and that's going to be
the Bucks do match up. It's tough because the Bucks haven't played Toronto since the Marc Gasol acquisition, right? Marc Gasol is one of those players who gets Brook Lopez outside the paint and Brook Lopez isn't a very mobile defender,
No,
right?
he's not.
So that's one of the things I'm concerned about.
And then you got to realize, we're assuming that Brogdon and Mirotic are going to be available the second round for sure.
Mirotic is going to be available first round. I think as early as game 2 is what I heard.
Okay.
But again, he won't be up to. You're going to have to work.
And that's
they
the
need
thing.
to get him acclimated to this rotation as soon as they can.
Right.
So that here's the other thing. Last year, Brogdon came back right at the start of the Boston series, and he was still huge.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not too worried about Brogdon because he's not like a super athletic guy, and I don't think like the kind of injury he had requires him to get his body necessarily back to NBA shape. I think he's still going to do what he does best, which is penetrate. And I mean, when he shoots, opposite hand those layups, he's actually pretty hard to guard.
Yeah.
Especially when he's going up against another one. He can even do it against 3s and 2s,
No, yeah, he's a huge piece, and like
he's
you said,
the Bucks' best 3-point shooter, believe it or
he'll
not.
probably be ready. The second series at least, right?
I hope so.
Yeah,
he won't be. I think. Yeah, he won't be.
That's gonna be tough, man. And you gotta work those players back into, like you said, back into rotation. You can't just put them back out there for 30 minutes and expect them to play full court defense and
right.
But
I think we should forego the championship predictions right now because I need to see what all these teams look like after one round of play. I think we'll do another pod before the maybe midway round 2 or before the conference finals to kind of, once we get our feet in the water and we know what all these teams are doing, like what the injury situation, because we still don't know if Embiid's going to play the first 2 games. Yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I mean, anything else you wanted to add?
Got to give a big shout out to D Wade.
Yeah,
and Dirk.
I think that's actually pretty. That really sucks. We can't see both of them in the playoffs.
I know, man. I really wanted to see D Wade's last run in the playoffs, but he gave it a go, man, and he was able to put up a triple-double his last game. That was amazing.
Even though he missed the playoffs, he went out like a champ.
Yeah, exactly. What an amazing career, man. I mean, 3 championships. That says it all right there. 1 Finals MVP. He had a hell of a career. And then Dirk, man, same thing. He's got a championship and a regular season MVP, Finals MVP. Dirk. Believe it or not, Dirk was the reason that I started playing basketball. And I started practicing the one-leg shots. I wore 41. He's whoever thought a 7-foot guy would be able to shoot threes like that, man.
It's been insane,
unbelievable. And then the work that he put in to get his game to where it was at when they made it to the finals, it was just crazy. I mean, Dirk used to be with his first year or so. He used to be like a slasher type player. He used to dunk on people.
He could have been a Buck too, man.
Yeah,
Bucks,
yeah. That's
the Bucks got an old trailer instead.
Yep, tractor trailer.
Rest in peace, tractor trailer.
Yeah. Rest in peace, man.
All right, I think it's time for us to get out of here. We will talk to you all probably around round 2, maybe a little after. And till then, keep it real. Thanks for listening. Make sure you go check us out on Spotify. Make sure you like us on Facebook so you don't miss any future episodes.
Bucks first game on Sunday.
Yep, we'll be watching. I'm sure you will be too. So see you.
Peace.
So, finals.